What's going on? What's up with y'all? It's your boy Decopbo, the Sunday Inspiration Motivation. First of all, I would like to say that this message is not downing any particular sect or religion or anything like that. It's just me asking questions that a lot of people, when I speak to them, they ask me, period. They ask me the same things. And I've been asking myself these questions for a while, but they're not really questions you ask other people. They're questions you ask yourself. And I know the Eagles game going on, so I won't be with you long. All right. Healing versus healed. One is ongoing healing. That means you're in the process of healing. And the other one, ED, means it has already happened. You are healed. I had numerous surgeries so I can understand the healing process and how painful the healing process can be. I also understand in retrospect that once I am healed, I will always have that scar. It would always be something that I need to be reminded of. Whether I look or whether someone else sees the scars and asks me, what happened right there? And I had to go tell the story of what happened with this particular scar. Now, what I want people to understand is Decopbo, Wilson, True That, Flame, 6ix9ine, whatever you choose to call me in my lifetime, however I came across to you, Sco, B, like, whatever I was to you in whatever name you called me, I always had something that I was proud of. I never talk about something that I don't have any knowledge or experience in. Never. So when I say what I'm about to say to you, I need you to understand, I need you to understand that I'm coming from a place of experience. Not arrogance or cockiness or none of those things. I'm coming from a place of experience. Now, and please God, help me not curse, because I get excited and I forget that, hey, this ain't a sermon, but it's sort of like in between a sermon and a therapy session. So it's like I shouldn't cuss and I'll be trying. And that's part of my healing process. Once I came out the dark, I started to see ugly truths about myself. Like, man, you cuss too much. See, but I couldn't see that while I was healing. I only recognized it once I was healed. Man, I went to my little brother's funeral yesterday. Tell you stories about me. Maybe they make sense to you or you can understand them in your own way. I know somebody out there is trying to get their life together or has gotten their life together, but the scar still remains. That's the whole point of this conversation. I used to go to church, and when I went to church, I used to have like a question in my head. And it's like I was playing this game with God, whereas though I would have a question, and it seemed like every time I had that question, I went to church and God answered it through the preaching or something that someone said. And I'd be like, oh, you know what? This is a little spooky, but it's the truth. Why is that missing? I'm gonna tell you why. The last thing that a sinner who just been partying all weekend and probably did something stupid he didn't want to do or she didn't want to do, and she going to church because she feel like she need forgiveness or whatever, that thing that you get after you leave church service and you be feeling like you okay, or the masjid or the temple, whatever you go for your spiritual nourishment, and they go, the last thing they want to hear is how holy moly and filled with the Holy Ghost and how good your life is, because their life sucks. Not only do you put them in a situation where they feel like I am the only person here and it's very uncomfortable, you also give that person the ability to be manipulated by Satan, the devil, jinns, whispers, however you choose to call it. Because the number one thing that the devil says repeatedly, or as jinns or as angels or whatever, I've been hearing in my own life. You see these people, you don't belong here. You see that pious Muslim brother, you're never going to be him. You see that woman, the first lady, you're never going to marry a preacher. Like, why are you here? You just at a bar yesterday. You don't deserve to be here. God don't even love you. You see? You help that out by making that person feel like you ain't never sinned before. Look at her. She's so pious. Look at him. He's so pious. He's so great. He probably never said. And what they really want to hear is where God brought you from, not where God has you at. I'm going to say that again. What they want to hear is, where did God bring you from? I see where you at. I understand where you at. But where did he bring you from? And don't leave out no details. But once a person gets filled with the Holy Ghost, sanctified, filled, and saved, sanctified, like, they forget that they ever sinned before. Then the person feels uncomfortable, and you see them a Sunday and they don't come back because it's not that welcoming feeling that you felt back in the day when you went to church and the usher said hi, she smiled at you. You ain't get smiled at for a whole week straight. And they sit you down in a seat. They actually ain't visitors. They stand up, they clap. Like, I ain't saying all churches don't do it. I'm just saying we are so caught up in the music part of it. We're so caught up in the musicians part of it. We're so caught up in the pop line and the ceremony. We so caught up in the way the church needs to look, how big it is. We so caught up in all that stuff that we forget the reason that you have a church is to win souls. The reason you have a masjid is to win souls. That's all it is. To be Christian is to be Christ-like. To be Muqtimun is to follow the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and his messages. The hadith, the way they live. Simple. We put all our stock in these buildings and these things, and I've never seen Jesus preach in a building. The word mount means hill. I've never seen a hill inside a house. And once again, this is not belittling anybody or talking bad about the church or the masjid. This is not it. I'm just saying that when you are healing, all you can look down and see the stitches, see the scars, see the wound. You can't see. That person who is healing can't see past the wound. Unless somebody with a wound walk up and show them, I had stitches too. I had surgery too, but look now. You can still see the marks, but I'm healed. You can still see the damage, but I'm healed. So, when it's all said and done, once you heal and you start to put the ED, you're going to notice that people don't even recognize you. And that's going to be the hard part, because you're going to think you need to be recognizable, not understanding that you are healed. Therefore, you are supposed to be different. Yesterday, I got it from so many people. Oh my God, you look so good. Like, what is going on? What you doing? I'm like, I've been going to the gym. It can't be that. I don't think that I'm the sexiest dude in the world, but I don't think that I'm ugly either. So it can't be that. Oh, you stopped drinking. And that's when the pain came. The truth is not pretty, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who told y'all that the truth is pretty all the time. It's definitely not pretty. I had to really acknowledge the fact that I stopped one thing and I am unrecognizable. Yeah. I stopped one thing and no one recognizes me. And what I mean by recognize me, like my homie said yesterday, if something happens, man, you are totally different. And I didn't realize me drinking was plucking at the scab called life, and then I wouldn't allow it to heal. It's way easier to run from your responsibility mentally or physically or be present when you got vodka in your system. Because my family got in the car, I just want you to understand that once you heal from whatever affliction or dimension you might be going through, you are supposed to be different. People are not supposed to recognize you. You're supposed to have new circles. You're supposed to do new things. You're supposed to speak differently. You're supposed to feel different. So don't be discouraged when you change or you become healed and no one recognizes you, because that's exactly what's supposed to happen. That's actually the truth that says that you are healed. And for me, once again, it wasn't a whole lot of stuff that I changed. I changed one thing. It's incredibly sad that one thing controlled my life in such a direction that I lost the ability to steer. It's like driving in a car and you have no steering wheel. You have a gas pedal, you have a brake pedal, but you have no control of where you're going. Before I healed, that's what it seemed like my life did. And I stopped one thing. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I stopped drinking. One thing. And I became unrecognizable. So, once again, in Sunday's Motivation, Inspiration, healing is the process. It's a continuation. Meaning you are in the process of healing. Healed, ED, means the healing has come to an end and you are healed. Please figure out which one you are, because if you are healing, you need to understand, you need to speak to people who are going through the same circumstances as you, that's going through the same thing you're going through, and you need to let them show you their scars so you can have the ability to understand that just because you have a wound doesn't mean one day it's not going to close. It will close. But how do you know that when you're around all wounded people? All y'all doing is looking at each other's wounds. Nobody has healed. Nobody has went through the process. Nobody went to the doctor, got their stitches out. All y'all doing is changing bandages every day. Wound care, as they call it. And my statement about people not going to church because of that reason, I do not take it back. It is true. If I go to church and I just was sitting the whole weekend and the usher don't say hi, I don't get a seat, no one's greeting me, then I'm not coming back there. I'm like, if this is what church is about, then they got 5 offerings. Like, I'm not coming back there. And I already did something stupid. I ain't got no money. Y'all got 5 offerings, so I got to sit down 5 times and watch people walk around me, looking at me like, this nigga must be broke. He ain't got no money. And I know you need money to, support the church and all that. So I'm trying to make it light, but I'm telling you that your job in the masjid, the temple, the church, is to win souls. It's not to get rich. And if God wills you to get rich while winning souls, then fine. But if that is your due purpose, then you might as well open up a concert hall or something. Because that's what it really is. It's a show. So, in closing, understand that you are special, you are beautiful, you deserve to be happy. And if you are miserable and you find yourself in a miserable situation and you do not remove yourself from that miserable situation, then you are no longer a victim, you are a participant. Decopbo 1.